Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to 5 Minutes with a BI Rabbi. Earlier this week, our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, visited the concentration camp and death camp of Auschwitz. His visit was clear that he was extremely emotional. It was visible, his tears, and what it meant to him. I have to say that it's very important that the Prime Minister visited Auschwitz. Number one, the fact that he was there, had a chance to see one of the worst places in the history of the Jewish people. And number two, a place that truly defines evil for all of the world. In order to be able to understand us as a Jewish community here in Canada, so many of us are and were Holocaust survivors, and many of us, such as myself, the descendants of Holocaust survivors. It's helpful for our Prime Minister to have been in Auschwitz and to have seen what took place there. It's also helpful for the leader of Canada to see what humanity is capable of in terms of evil, in a negative sense. This week, we are reminded of a certain aspect of this week's Torah portion by the Prime Minister's visit to Auschwitz. And I have to say, personally, a piece that connects to my own personal history. This week we read Parshat Chukat, and in the Parsha, Miriam passes away. And as soon as Miriam passes away, the Torah tells us that the children of Israel begin to cry out for water. And they also add in, not only do we want water, but figs and pomegranates and other fruits. And the rabbis, Rashi in particular, are confused by this, saying, we understand water, a basic necessity, but why figs? And why pomegranates and other delicacies of life, of the sweetness of life? And the answer that is given is that in order to truly be able to appreciate the sweetness of the fruits, we understand that what we really need first and foremost is the water. That is what we need in order to be able to survive. And then hopefully after that, we're able to go one step further. I remember watching in the video that was done by the Spielberg Foundation of my father before he passed away, in which my father explained that one of the worst aspects of the Holocaust for him was the thirst. And he remembered and talked about one day when he was in a train being moved from one camp to the other, and it was a summer day and he was extremely thirsty. And the train pulled into a German town, and the residents of the town wanted to bring out water to the inmates, to the concentration camp inmates who were on the train, and the SS officers refused to allow them to do that. My father talked about the pain of the thirst, of the hardship of that particular moment. When one is thirsty, when one needs the basic necessities of life, it is extremely difficult. But we as humans ultimately need even more than that. We need the sweetness of life. The Germans proved, the Nazis proved, just what human beings are capable of in terms of evil. And I have to say that unfortunately, yesterday, we saw once again that there is no end to this, that people continue to be evil. In Nice in France, one individual went on an attack in which he killed over 80 people. And we saw what one person can do. I pray that the lessons of this week's Parsha, the lessons that we learned in the Shoah, and unfortunately once again what happened yesterday, become imparted and entrenched in our hearts, and we understand that humanity is capable of evil, but we must move beyond that. We must feed the world when we are thirsty, when we are hungry, and ultimately we must bring sweetness into this world. That needs to be our response to things like what happened in Nice, and I pray that that is what our Prime Minister also learned when he was at Auschwitz.